Hello and welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and the matchup against the Atlanta Falcons just got a heck of a lot more interesting with the announcement on their quarterback and star wide receiver. For the Patriots, a massive shakeup in the backfield. Another massive shakeup in the AFC East as a rival hits half of the reset button, and we take a look at more of the trade market in advance of that November 4th trade deadline. Before we get into everything, make sure you go down and get into the comments and let us know what you think about what's going on for your New England Patriots and what you want to see from them. Also, if you have questions, throw them in there. We'll answer them right here on the channel. And also a huge thank you to our subscribers already who have gotten us this far. And please, if you haven't, please think about going down and subscribe for the channel so you can get the latest info on the New England Patriots and help push this channel out to the masses as we bring you the latest New England Patriots info that you need every single day leading up to the next game in what is proving to be just a phenomenal season here in New England. And if you like what you hear, make sure you give us that like, and afterwards go back and check out all of our old episodes, especially last, because we go through every trade name that's out there. And on the end of this one, we'll give you the latest updates on some of those big names. We start with the news that Michael Penix and Drake London will indeed be active for the matchup against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. But for the Patriots, not great news here in the backfield as Ramondre Stevenson cannot go because of that toe injury. He will be out, which means a shakeup is coming, and we can assume that Travion Henderson will be getting the start, the rookie second rounder out of Ohio State, because Antonio Gibson is on the IR and out for the season, and that leaves Travion Henderson and then Terrell Jennings, who has played quite well in his brief amount of time here with the Patriots. But also, there will be another running back called up. There's been additions here on the practice squad. Dearness Johnson seems like the smart ad, as he was just brought in from outside of the organization now onto the practice squad. Someone's going to get called up, and it's fair to assume that Travion Henderson finally will get his shot. It can be the main guy, but don't be surprised if Terrell is also heavily involved, if not even close to a 50-50 split. I think for what they've done and showing what they have in the rookie running backs and rookie players in general, that they're not going to completely just thrust everything onto one player. And there's a reason why Mike Vrabel kept going back to Ramondre Stevenson, even in spite of those fumbling issues. Part of that is the talent that Ramondre Stevenson possesses. Also, it's part Travion Henderson getting his game up to snuff at the NFL level. I don't see him as a banger between the tackles, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start running Jennings as that guy and then putting Travion more into that third down role that we initially had envisioned for him. The biggest part of this will be pass blocking. And with Atlanta investing so much on the defensive side of the ball, especially 2 first-round pass rushers that they're going to have to key on, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the backfield and something very much to watch to see how that plays out here on Sunday for your New England Patriots. Something else to keep an eye on how is playing out is what is going on with the Miami Dolphins after a brutal loss to the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football. The Dolphins finally deciding to cut the cord on longtime GM Chris Greer's owner Stephen Ross making that decision, and it wasn't the head coach Mike McDaniels, as many thought might be the end of the line for him, that got the axe. Instead, the GM falls. McDaniels is considered and, as announced, expected to remain the head coach for at least the rest of the season, if not beyond. Additionally, Tua Tagovailoa remains the starting quarterback. So, shakeup in the front office, not necessarily out on the field and the coaches, but interim GM Champ Kelly now will have a ton of decisions in front of him and what's going to happen, especially in this next 5 days. And as the Patriots are really talking across the board, and at 6-2, you kind of are looking at the opportunity to finally make some noise. And I think anyone you talk to is not going to consider the Patriots to necessarily be a Super Bowl contender right now. Not to say that they couldn't win the right games and end up there. But I think whatever came across on the other side, you would not be the favorite. But if you're able to use the cap space that you have, use the draft capital, and be shrewd businessmen, could you make enough moves to actually be contenders? Well, if the Miami Dolphins are having a fire sale, Minka Fitzpatrick at the safety position absolutely could be someone you talk about. And yes, Jalen Hawkins and Craig Wooden have been phenomenal for the Patriots as starters, but the depth at the safety position definitely is up for debate. Now, again, in division trades rarely happen, but if you give enough of a deal for the Miami Dolphins to say we will deal with not being as competitive as we could be for the next couple of years because we gave a good player to an in division foe, then suddenly, fine, we'll deal with it. Same goes for Jalen Waddle. Now, as the best wide receiver on the Dolphins roster, many people would be after him, a contract that is doable from most sides. But again, it doesn't make sense for the Dolphins to make a deal unless they see an out on the end of it. Minka, I think, would be a couple of years. Jalen Waddle would be a few. The other two that are being thrown around as Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, probably in the same boat that you would have to deal with them for 1 or 2 years, and you're not going to want to go that route. So while those are the big names that you're hearing out there, don't expect them to be making the trek up 95 to all the way up 95 to New England. The only one I could see coming to fruition is Matthew Judon and having a return back to the Patriots. And it's a different coaching staff and a different setup here, but he knows Robert Kraft well. And I think knowing that it's a veteran at the end of his career and could get into that rotation here at the defensive end spot, that could actually make a lot of sense for both the Patriots and the Dolphins, as the Dolphins are really going to be looking to parse off as much as they can to build up their draft stock to hopefully start the rebuild process yet again. And finally, there are a lot of big names out there on the trade block. And again, I urge you to go check out our last episode for every single name that is out there and which is likely, unlikely, and big swings. And we break them all down for you. But a few updates on some of those bigger names with Jacoby Myers, obviously very familiar with Foxborough, will indeed play for the Raiders here this Sunday. So has a chance to show that he is healthy and ready to go. Again, it'll be interesting to see how much they get him involved. Brock Bowers will be back involved as well. And with Geno Smith not necessarily playing that well, you can take everything with kind of a grain of salt. Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals and probably remaining top player there that they could end up pushing off, especially if they end up losing after that big loss against the Jets. If they can't afford another loss at all to fall out of playoff contention, hoping to get that team even close to have Joe Burrow come in and push them across the finish line. Trey Hendrickson had that entire offseason of will he, won't he, came back, got the deal, has now been in and out of the lineup. He indeed will be out. He will not have a chance to show anything else, but it could be for the best of you don't have a chance to pick up any further injury. Again, don't expect the Patriots to be in on Hendrickson, as Cincinnati will want to keep him as much as they can and probably wouldn't be willing to pull the cord on him quite yet. One last big one is actually coming from the Raiders as well, is Max Crosby. He obviously is a top 5 rusher in this league. He is the easily best player on the Raiders right now, and it would be tough for the Raiders to move on from him, as we mentioned in the last episode. However, if you come in with the Godfather offer, it will be tough for the Raiders to turn down, knowing that they have so much in front of them, whether it's the Chiefs, the Broncos, or even the Chargers now, who are all on a different level. And don't be surprised if all three end up making the playoffs this year, which puts the Raiders behind the 8 ball and knowing that you're going to need a lot more than just Max Crosby to get it done. So again, if you're giving that Godfather offer, you're going to give up that first this year, a second the year after, and a player or two. Could you potentially get the deal done? The answer is yes. Is it likely that it happens? The answer is no. Again, don't expect the Raiders to give up on their best player, but he will be playing this week to show that he is healthy. get teams interested yet again and potentially drive up that price. But if the price for it is actually being contenders for the Super Bowl, suddenly it becomes very, very worth it. That'll do it for us here on this episode of Pat's Latest. Again, make sure you go down, subscribe for that channel. Make sure we're pushing out Pat's Latest to everyone so we can get all the latest Patriots info out there. Get in the comments. Let us know what you think about what's going to shake out with the Patriots backfield here this weekend. Is it a Miami fire sale, or was moving on from Chris Greer exactly what they needed? And who should the Patriots truly target here at the deadline? And who's your favorite one to end up in Foxborough? Also, give us that like, and now go back and check out our old episodes, especially the last one, so you can hear about every single trade name that is out there and whether they have a shot to end up on your New England Patriots. We'll continue to have it all right here for you on Pat's Latest. Fight on, Foxborough.